Okay, hi everyone, welcome. So we're talking this week, it's Parshas Bay. This week's Parsha starts off when it's called Bo El Pharaoh. Okay, so Hashem basically the way we learn it is that Hashem sent Moshe to save the Jewish people, and so Hashem says, go to Parai, negotiate a deal, and get the Jews out. Like he's basically the person. Now, if you look at it, you see that it's that Hashem basically is saying, I'm coming with you, because he's not saying Lech al Parai, he's saying bye, I'm coming with you. And so Parai we know is the deepest levels of Klipa. So you always have the opposite, complete opposite, which is the highest level in Kedusha, as explained in the Zohar. So I think what we want to talk about today is what those parais might be in our lives, and how do you confront it, and also so I think how do you confront it is the next question. The first and most important thing is to understand, to feel, to have that thought that Hashem is coming with you. Hashem by al para. Hashem is with me. Hashem is with me with my stress, with my anxiety, with my experience, and Hashem is coming with me to my demons, and my biggest demons I could even imagine. Hashem is with me, and Hashem is helping me face my fears.
Yeah, thank you. I actually want to add one thing before, go back a step and say, the first thing is to know and validate and experience the feelings. Like right now, there's the reason why Hashem had to come with Parah is because he had this fear. He had this terrible fear of confronting this great power. It was a very great physical power and was also a very great spiritual power. And both of them he was afraid to like even confront, even engage with on any level. He didn't feel like it was possible being in a body to be able to like go there because of all the confinements that come along with being human. So before we talk about Hashem, we want to talk about Moshe being a human. With a body, and
it's interesting. Saying with the fear. Go ahead.
No, I guess like the idea of a body is that there's specific needs, there's specific organization of how things go. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to have clean clothes. There's certain things that like are just needs that are physical and very down to earth. And so because of all about that, not in a bad way, but it's just not able to engage in certain limitless, chaotic, flowing lights from Hashem that, because they're so out of control. And so don't follow any rules. Doesn't follow any rules, it's not held in anything.
So in other words, what you're saying is, how do you bridge the gap between the physicality, the mundane, the rigid, and the godly overpowering and like without limit? So when you were talking
and the answer is by Apare.
Okay. So what's interesting, I just want to make one other connection to last a few weeks ago, Parsha, I guess it's Shemais. I think Shemais, yeah. When you were saying, see, I never thought about this about Moshe being afraid to go to Parai. Like whenever you learn the Rashi, it's like the Sikha, it's like, well, I don't know, it's like the question and answer, like why does it say Baya not Lech? It's because Hashem's coming with us. So it's what you said about like Moshe, think about Moshe as a human, like think about what he's feeling, think about him, like have some compassion for him. And so when we were talking about his fear, I right away went to this. There's this well-known sikha in Chelek Lamed Gimel that the Rebbe speaks about Parai's fear. Not Parai, sorry. Moshe was afraid when he killed the Mitzraim. He was afraid that Moshe was going to find that Parai was going to find out and he's going to execute him. He's going to be in trouble, so he's afraid. And there's a whole discussion of what faith is, and different level of faith, and all that. So I think that might even have been like a prerequisite to train Moshe in this idea of having such a faith that Hashem is with him, that Hashem is with him in everything, right? In that case, he was trying to save a Jewish life, and he did, right? and it was capital punishment for where he was. And then now he's doing the craziest thing. He's trying to take people out of a place that no one slave ever ran away. Okay, you're not talking about like
the most powerful being in the inhabited world,
right, in the universe. And you're not saying that you're afraid of things, right? Because we know that Hashem created the world. So Hashem gives power, Hashem gives the power into the world. Okay, Hashem gives the power to kings, presidents, to the mayors. Hashem gives that power. Okay, so it's not just like it's a fluke. It's a scary thing, you know. And I think I guess it's also important to say, okay, yes, it is a scary thing. It's not necessarily scary. It's an awesome. It's something that requires trepidation. Okay, and so I think the connection I'm making for me is like when there's scary, like a stressful thing. So yeah, walk into that with trepidation. You know what I'm saying? It's not, don't take it for granted. Like this is something that Hashem did create this scenario, and Hashem is coming with you. And like, you know, like you said, like just like be aware of all the pieces. And yeah, that's so I love the connection to the other one.
Yeah. It's interesting because to me, as you're speaking, all I hear is like the humanizing. Like constantly. It's just like humanize the experience. Make it like you know, with like feelings that are not comfortable, feelings that are not perfect, feelings that are not, you know, necessarily in line with what you got to do what you got to do. And it's like, no, there's a certain humanism to this whole conversation. And it's like to think like Moshe, who is the greatest person in all times, and here he's showing like such a vulnerable, like human side to him that he's afraid, and like he's expressing that, and he's like, I'm sorry, like it's just I can't do it. And Hashem's like, Hashem's like, I got you. Like it's a valid concern. It's 100% valid concern. I'm gonna come with you.
But I think back to what you said is that part of this is that Moshe said, Hashem, I'm scared. He didn't.
Right.
It was really when you say Bo El Pharaoh, it really is Moshe's initiative, because because Hashem says Moshe, go to Parai, and then Moshe says, I'm scared, kvad panachi, whatever. And then Hashem says, I'm gonna not assuage your fears, but I'm coming with you. And because basically when Moshe says he's scared, he's saying like, I can't go into the dungeon. I can't go into the deepest klipa. I'm not strong enough, right? Or whatever. I'm not resilient enough. So Hashem says, the most highest kedusha, I'm coming with you into that place. But I guess what you brought out in me is that it was Moshe that first faced that
fear.
Yeah, he faced it.
I want to add to that. Crazy that basically Moshe's like peeling himself open. He's like literally like opening up his heart, opening up himself, opening up his whole being to be receptive.
Wow.
To this support.
Right.
Like he's cracking himself open and sharing his deepest fear, which is approaching Parai. Like the deepest fear his most deepest, most personal, most frightening fear that he's sharing. And he's just like, Hashem, like, I'm open. I'm available for your support.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, you know? And like to think that like the greatest person that ever lived, and obviously we know that like, you know, in every generation we have that, and like to think about what, as the Rebbe is sharing this, what he's saying about himself, you know, about his relationship with Hashem, what the Rebbe is saying about himself and his relationship with Hashem, and how we are being invited to copy this and mirror it into our own lives.
Yeah. You know, this is a lot, but you know, you're saying about opening yourself up. It reminded me of the other earlier when we spoke a few weeks ago about Avram Avinu, and he made the shvua with his bris, because the bris is the most personal part. In addition to it being the first mitzvah, it has this like vulnerability, and I guess that's because he's Avay, so he sets the trend, right? Moshe was Adam Mikol Adam, so he he was like, he was stepping and going on like on the path, and he brought this ability to be able to just be so what's the word? Humble, so
Well,
available, so ready to receive, and the most vulnerable, to really receive
like, isn't
Hashem's presence. It's like Hashem is like, where it says, like in the Mishnah, that Hashem is only where humility, right? However you
yeah.
say that, that 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 that's how we invite Hashem in, is through humility, and Moshe is showing us how to do it when it's so excruciating,
Can I
right?
just tell you something even crazier? A connection that
Yeah.
I just made. Right. So Moshe is basically being makabel, like Hashem's like hashpa and help and support and whatever. And it's like, right now, what's our goal? What's right in front of us? Right in front of us is to prepare ourselves to be makabel pnei Moshiach tzidkenu. Right. This is the first geula, and part of what the Rebbe asks in the beginning of the sikha is like, Pare is connected to Galus, and when we're at the end of Galus, what do we have to learn from it? Right? But this is one thing that we learn 100%, that when we're at that point of being makabel pnei Moshiach tzidkenu, we have to learn what that interaction was in the beginning of Parshas Bay, with Moshe cracking himself open to be completely humble. And to us, humility, we don't really understand what humility is, but when you kind of break this up, we're like, oh, that's what humility is. It's expressing your deepest fear to Hashem and being open that he's going to carry you there. He's going to hold your hand.
Yeah.
And maybe that's to me, I'm like, wait, maybe that's what the Rebbe is saying of being makabel pnei Moshiach tzidkenu, is like, literally, like, I don't know, I don't have another way to say it, but just like express like deepest fear. And I think for me, when you talk about fear, it's like the fear of, not the fear of unknown, not the fear of failure, not the fear that someone's going to find out that I'm like, a phony or whatever. It's just like this deep fear of a greater expansion that I know that never existed before. And it's like, so we're just kind of stuck. It's like this fear of freedom, this fear of abundance. There's this fear of, because at this point, like, as soon as, obviously we're in the times of Mashiach, like, where we're just literally like on that cusp. So it's almost like the Avaida is like to slowly like soften into that experience of just literally like opening our hands instead of like closing them, like, no, like, no, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, no, opening up our hands and like reveling in the awesomeness of Hashem carrying us into that time. It's like just being a makabel to it.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's really intense, and it's like, if it's such a big deal, it's the name of the Parshas Bay of Mitzraim. Like, it's a big deal. Yeah, I got a compliment that I sound like my mother. So it's like this like cracking open of something.
So maybe let's assume.
Yeah, I also would love to. I would love to like find a few different ways to express this.
Yeah,
like, not just cracking open. Okay, fine.
I was just gonna say, for the people that may not relate, maybe that people that don't relate to the idea of cracking open, that doesn't resonate. Let's talk about maybe a couple other modes.
No, I'd love to do that.
Because some people are more soft in their approach, so cracking is more of a, maybe let's talk about klipa, right? Because klipa is something that is supposed to protect. Okay, so it's supposed to protect just like, let's say, an orange peel, right? So that orange peel is protecting the orange so that it can be like fresh. Okay, but as soon as it's time to eat it, you don't want the peel anymore. It doesn't carry that value anymore. So the question is, maybe if we talk, so cracking open might be like
an egg.
Yeah, I was
egg
thinking
or a
a
nut.
coconut.
Yeah, coconut or like a nut, like a hazelnut or like a
Okay.
almond or something.
Yeah, so that takes a little bit more aggression. You need to have the right tool. You
Yeah.
need to have the right pressure. You need to have the right amount of pressure so you don't crash the fruit.
Smash all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good because some people can relate to that. Some people are very, cut and dry. And I don't mean people, but I mean certain experiences. Like some of them are just like very straightforward. You go and I think the idea of opening up our eyes to accept Mashiach is more not passive, but more of a flow, more of like open up your eyes. Like when you open up your eyes, you just open them. It's a very passive. Like you wake up in the morning and Hashem helps you open up your eyes. It's not like you have to pry it open or something. So I think if we can think about some,
and I will agree
reflex.
that there was and I do feel like there was like a level of like intensity in like the way I was expressing it, and I think it also had a lot to do with like how strongly I feel about it. But I do agree that we need to like level down on the intensity and really soften into it. Like maybe imagine like peeling a clementine or peeling an apple, or there are all different ways to like peel things, and maybe it's just a film that needs to be washed off or something.
Right, like a grape, maybe you could eat it.
No, and even like notice like the intensity of my voice before versus like how much softer my voice sounds now. Like you're just like grounding me and just be like, okay, like, thank you. But like
we love intensity also.
Yeah. No, but I feel like expressing the fear.
What?
I think expressing, validating, pinpointing the fear is what is like the disarming. It's like you have the shield and you just like drop it, like just dissolves. I think you're more talking about like a dissolving of a klipa, of like a layer. So like think about like not even easy off, just like maybe like when it gets really warm, so like things dissolve or like melt, and like flow into rivers or whatever. So maybe that's
actually
more what
really
it is. Just like
because the frozen is like the cold, like very wrapped up, not able to like break out. And as soon as it warms up outside, the winter is over, the sun comes out, it's gone. It's just gone.
Yeah.
And it's run off.
And it does, but it does also generate. Yeah, but it also does generate a lot of intensity. Snow mass.
Right.
So there's that too, of like the intense, and that could also be really chaotic and destructive. So there's that too. So it's like there's kind of everything everywhere, and not in a bad way, but just like in a way of like appreciating everything for what it is, where it is. And not getting and I think Moshe, that was the fear. He was just overwhelmed by everything being everywhere and like light being accessible everywhere in any type of way without any rules. That was the fear. And so we expressed that, and Hashem was like, okay, like, yes, it's very scary. We're gonna go there anyway. Like, yes, like snow mass makes for rapid rivers, and like it could be really dangerous to whitewater rafting. That's where it happens. It happens in rivers that from snow mass, which is like melted snow, and that brings a lot of chaos. But if it's done right, you have a great time.
If
it's done wrong, like I'm saying, people die whitewater rafting, if you're stupid about it. And Moshe knew the danger of whitewater rafting and how bad that could be, and how goodbye. But Hashem's like, no, it's okay. Like you can engage in that discomfort. You can lean into it. And I'm here with you, going down the river, going down the rapids. And there are going to be times where like, there's going to be that shake on top, and like you'll hit a rock,
And cliffs.
and that's what it's going to be. You're going to hit cliffs, and you're going to hit, there will be times that it's more smooth, and there will be times whatever, and you will have to kind of whatever. But I think this is obviously, this just came to me, this mushal of like whitewater rafting. I feel like we're making it a little too intense. I feel like it's just like those are all the elements of, it's almost like his biggest fear that all these things are going to happen. And Hashem's like, it's all chill. Like,
right, it'll be
it
a
might
fun
look
ride.
like that. Yeah, it'll be fun. Like, it'll be totally fun, totally chill, and you'll just slide through it. And like, but the
And you'll have fun.
end,
You'll have a good time.
it's just by opening up and by like dropping the shield and dropping the like mantra of like, oh, I have full control. I can, I can handle my emotions. I can whatever. No, like actually, like I really need help with this. I really need support.
Yeah.
That's all. Just like opening Hashem Sifasai Tiftecha. Hashem, guide my path, guide my words, walk with me. I'm feeling really apprehensive. I'm feeling really whatever it is. Feeling really nervous. I'm feeling really afraid. I know that this is the best thing for myself. This is the best thing for the universe. And because of that, I'm afraid.
And actually, with the whitewater rafting, another element that might help people is when you go on it and you're ready to have a good time, and you're not as afraid. You allow your fears to come. You can have a good time. If you fears and you get tensed up, you're not able to work the rapids, and you don't, and it's a very scary ride, and you feel like you're going to die 12 times, and then you have to go to therapy after because you're traumatized. So
it's just the intention of how you go in.
Intention, kavana.
Yeah, the intention of going kavana, of going into the experience and what that's like.
Yeah. So actually, as far as acknowledging the sensation or whatever, Esther Levy actually explained to me this week. I asked her about like feeling intensity, and she basically said like whisper. If you have like an intense like emotion in your body that like you feel like tingling or something, like in your leg or in your eye or something, she said just like whisper to it, which I thought was like just like whisper. And she also said just what did she say? Similar to what you said, is just to acknowledge it. What did you say before?
Acknowledge it, validate it.
Yeah.
Allow it to be.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're here. Yeah, I actually experienced this very much last week, where I was like had these emotions, and like I just wanted to like identify them and like zip them out, like just like ship them out. Like, yeah, you're here, great, okay, we're done. And it's just like, no, I can't have plans for how long these emotions are going to sit, and what they need to tell me or whatever. Like, if I'm feeling really tense in my stomach, like I want to breathe into it and I want it to be gone because that's my expectation. But it's like, what if I soften into it and be like, okay, you're here. You're allowed to be here. Okay, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out. And I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen to you because it's not about like the formula.
Right. Invite Hashem into that experience.
Yeah, like invite Hashem into that experience and be like, okay, like I'm feeling really anxious. I'm feeling really afraid. I'm feeling really hurt. I'm feeling really undermined. I'm feeling invisible. I'm feeling objectified. I'm feeling any of those things. And it's like, this is my feeling. And Hashem, like, I can't do it. I can't it's like, okay. Hashem's like, okay, I'll come with you. I'll fight your wars. And it's all chill. But it's just like a matter of like, I guess like inviting Hashem into that experience without a plan.
Yeah.
But A, inviting Hashem and expressing the feelings is very vulnerable. And also not having a plan of how you're going to get out of it. You're just entering this chaotic space. But it's chaotic that's full of light. And it's a very, very brave choice. And I want to validate everybody who's even considering this type of conversation with yourself and with Hashem and up-leveling your relationship with Hashem in this way, to say that that's the fear. The fear is of the unknown. of us not having a plan to how we're going to get where we want to go.
I just made another connection with the Parsha. Are you done with your sentence?
Yeah.
So Moshe, you explained that Moshe came to Parai and he was afraid of like the chaos of the energy of all the lights and that it would be. And when he comes, one of the things that Hashem tells him is that there's going to be Arba Moshe V'Seichem, and they're going to go check out, and the Jews are going to go. They're going to have like a halo of light around them, and then they can go into the Egyptian households to check out where they have the gold and silver, so that when they leave Egypt, they could have Avram's promise of wealth when they left. So that was almost like when I thought about it, I thought that like Moshe taking this brave step to go with Parai with Hashem, right? Then that was like sort of an outburst of that was that Hashem brought this level of light that was very contained. It was very contained because it was darkness in the whole Mitzrayim. There was only light around the Jew.
So can you explain the connection that you see? Because I don't understand.
Yeah, so
it was contained to, yeah.
Basically, we're saying that we should approach like our relationship with Hashem and our vulnerable sharing with Hashem in a truly vulnerable way, meaning not having an expectation of a return. So he went, Hashem, Moshe go together to Parai, and after he went there,
as a result,
as a continuation of this, I don't know if it's a result, I don't know if we can say a result, but a continuation of the story is that Hashem gave this light in a very contained, practical way. That was very much part of the Exodus. This was part of the script. So by him stepping into the fear, it brought them closer to the redemption, not in even a spiritual way. It was a very physical, like they needed to go out rich. Because that's what Hashem promised Abraham.
Yeah, but it was also like very like not scary. Like this, it was very contained, as in like a very contained type of light. Okay, now I see what you're saying. It's like it was very like, you need this, okay, you got it. So it's like you think that like you're gonna be so overwhelmed, and there is something very overwhelming about it, and it's coming in stages for you.
It's coming in stages, and also Hashem has a plan, right? Like Hashem was going to punish the Mitzraim. Okay, fine. So he gave them
however way he's going to do it.
He gave them the darkness. Okay, and Hashem also promised that Yetzibur Chashkadol. So he gave them this thing in conjunction to this, but this light was so beautiful and so like palatable. It was just like, go there, check it out. Like no commitment,
Simple.
Like just check it out, Yeah. Like how down to earth and how like how unintimidating is that? You know what I'm saying? It's part of this. Yeah. So going into Para, yes, that was crazy intimidating. But as far as what comes after, then Hashem comes and there's different other intimidating things. They had to bring the sheep into their house. Crazy. But there were other things like this. I think the idea of the light and the idea of something that's so not chill, but just like a very nice. I don't know how to say it. You get what I'm saying, yeah?
Palatable.
Like a nice experience, I mean, it's never fun to go into your enemy's territory. It's scary, but like they couldn't move. They were in darkness, and so they had their flashlights. They didn't have to carry the flashlights. They had their flashlights, whatever. They checked things out,
And in a way, like that was something that was very specific. Yeah, and very like targeted and yeah. So we're constantly like vacillating and like back and forth. Like on one hand, we're accessing and we're being invited by El Pharaoh, being invited to engage and access this overwhelming like waterfall of light that has no boundaries, and it's just like streaming and flowing like crazy.
Snow
It's
mass.
very scary. And there still is a Torah, there's still halacha, there's still like specific ways how we're expected to engage. But it's like, it's also more about the intention about how we're engaging with it, and the choices that we make and the choices that we're given to go to that space and engage with that greatness of, because if Pari is so great, I don't know, I just realized, I don't think I explained this, but if Pari is so great physically, which means in this world he has so much power, like a totalitarian. I don't even think it was totalitarian. It was probably more than that, because he had full control. It was like insane. So somebody who has that much power, that much greatness physically, means that there's something very great spiritual about.
Yeah.
And that's Moshe was afraid of that, really, not so much about the physical. And that's kind of what we're talking about, accessing that light, which is that, and it's also accessing that's the path into the Geula, and obviously the path, the Geula of Mitzraim to Geula Hasidah, like it's together. We're just like in this, like last week Seifa spoke about how we're like in this lag time between the first Geula and the second Geula, final Geula, and it's like we're just continuing that narrative, in our own ways.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that Pari is more the totalitarian. It's an important thing to think about for our imagination, because what we know is like we know control, right? But not even in our times, moving closer to Moshiach, we haven't had that. Like Shibud Malchi Yisbovad, like that's already pretty much, we're experiencing that shift. But in recent times, we know the Tsar and Hitler Yamach Shemai. I don't even know why I said his name. He doesn't deserve to be here, but.
But it wasn't even any of those. There's much more.
Exactly. You're talking about someone, and even like a superpower, like the Greek. This is something that's like beyond. Like there's no one that trumps him. No one.
Yeah.
He's just like, we don't. It's just to think in your imagination the most controlling situation that you've ever been in, the most micromanaged, the most coercion that you've experienced or that you know of in history, and then like exponentialize it. That's Mitzraim.
Yeah, I think we experience it in ways that we don't really expect. It's almost like we're like, oh my gosh, like what are they gonna think? Or like there's a lot of, even like with the whole like freedom of speech situation in America, of people not really being able to speak their minds. That's a lot of control, and there is that control. There's this fear mongering, there's all this stuff, and it's like, wait a second, like who are you? Why can't I speak my truth? Why can't I say what I want? And there's a lot of that in this country right now.
That's very true.
And it's a lot of control. It's like, how you show up on social media, and how you whatever, and who you vote for, and whatever.
Who you vote for, and like, why is it anyone?
No, it's very abrasive. It's very ugly, and it's like, wait, like I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in that space of being controlled by that, but I am. So where in me can I step out of that and focus my energy and my choice and my life where I want it to be, and be intentional about that, because there's a lot of control there.
That's very true.
Because there's a lot of control, we're afraid to engage in it. But it's like, wait, like I'm on social media, I should be more intentional. I should choose not be afraid.
No one's
we're putting this out on YouTube. No, but I'm saying like
there's no power. That's power. Sorry.
But there's always that control. Like, what am I putting out? Is it okay? Is it this? Is it that? And it's like, what about if I just like, Hashem is coming with me. So whatever I say, like I'm representing Hashem. That's it. Goodbye. Yeah, and as much as that fear is valid, and as much as that control is valid, it's not. Hashem's coming with me.
It's valid, like you said. It's valid because it's my experience, and it's valid because this is the world I live in.
It's a reality.
And that's what I need, and that's why I need Hashem to come. And I ask Hashem, I live in this world, there's lots of control, please come with me. And Hashem comes. And then you're Hashem's man. Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
Done. So is that your closing thoughts?
Yep.
Okay, I love that. Please join us next time. Thanks for listening. And yeah,
Much hatzlacha.
Hashem. Yeah. Let us know how this works out for you guys.
Yeah, tell us everything. Tell us. We want to hear from you.
Exactly. Feedback, like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely feel free to share this video with anyone who you think would resonate with them. And thanks for